How do you know if it's time to change jobs? Should you stay? Should you move? And what can help you make that decision? Hey guys, Luang here. Today I'm going to be having a chat with Tara, a very close friend of mine. I've known her as an editor. She's edited some of my videos before, and she is now working in business. So she has made quite a transition over the last few years. And we're going to kind of talk about that today, how she made that change, why she made that change. Hey guys, so if it is your first time to the Luang channel, I want to say welcome. Here we talk about videography and photography tips. We make exciting and cool creative videos, and I myself am an Asian Australian creative. If you think you might be interested in that kind of content, please like and definitely subscribe because it's very exciting stuff, and I hope you enjoy what we've got for you today.
My name's Tara. I'm 23 years old, living in Sydney. I currently work in sales and marketing, have been in this position for about 9 months now. And there's not much more to me.
What's like a typical day in what you do?
So I work for an employee engagement company, and they provide employee engagement technology and solutions to organizations around the world, including a communications hub as well as employee benefits. So that's where I sit in my role. I look after the employee benefits, which are essentially retail discounts from the top retailers around Australia.
Mm-hmm. And before you started doing this kind of work, what were you doing beforehand?
I was actually working part-time as a video editor, so complete change of pace, completely different industry. The typical day for me as an editor would have been, come in, look at the projects that I'm working on, look at upcoming projects, and I guess just put together a creative piece of content. Yeah, in terms of the skills that I was required to use in my day-to-day, it's definitely different to what I'm doing now. From the creative side to the technical side, just completely different. I guess the only constant is that both of these positions are a little bit foreign to me, in that I've just not had a whole lot of experience in either of these industries.
So does that mean, like, when you look for roles, do you tend to look for roles where you're less familiar? Not
necessarily. I do constantly love just learning new things, and I'm a strong believer that life is a lifelong learning lesson. Oh, don't use that. That was shocking the way I worded that. But yeah, I constantly want to challenge myself and learn new things. With both of these positions, I guess that I went for this role and similar roles because I had a little bit of experience in the past that I could bounce off. So with video editing in uni, I actually volunteered, I guess, as a video editor for one of the uni's publications. When I went into that, I actually applied for a marketing role in that, but then they put me into the post-production department, which was completely foreign to me. I basically had to teach myself how to edit in about a week. And then from there, I just found out that I absolutely loved doing it. And I loved being able to tell a story in that way.
Why do you think you got kind of pushed into editing at the time? Do you think they saw something in you, or they just needed some editors?
I honestly think that they were lacking with the editors, and I remember in my interview with them, I said that I was willing and happy to learn, and I definitely was. Like, looking back, I would not have changed a single thing.
Yeah.
But I think it was because they were lacking a few editors.
So you said that when you picked up editing, you really enjoyed it and you loved it, and then you worked in part-time doing editing, right? So after doing that, why did you end up doing marketing later? Why did you decide to work in a different role?
So in my video editing position, it got to a point where I felt a little bit stagnant in the role. I didn't see too much vertical progression where I was, and that is largely just because my technical knowledge and skills in that industry are really not well developed in any professional capacity, because it is just something that I'd picked up on my own. I have very basic shooting skills, which obviously limit, like a lot of people in this industry would know both production and post-production, whereas I was only really competent in the post-production aspect, so that already limited me to those roles. But then I also thought, is this something that I want to be doing? I knew that I did have skills in other areas, and I just at the time I wanted to see where those would take me. Bouncing off the previous marketing internships that I'd completed, I thought, well, why not look for a marketing position? The role that I'm currently in is not actually, it wasn't actually one of my top choices. I was quite surprised, and I after the during the call I was very enthusiastic about it and up for an interview and things like that. But as soon as the call ended, I actually looked through all my previous applications and was like, which one is this? Yeah, exactly. It wasn't one of the ones that I was absolutely gunning for. This was just one of the ones that I'd applied for at about 1 a.m. on LinkedIn. Looking back, I don't think that it was necessarily that I lost interest in editing or I lost my passion in editing. I'm still very much, interested in it and would still like to pick up projects on the side. But at the time, I think I did become quite frustrated with where I was at, and that caused me to not enjoy the work as much. I definitely think that if there were opportunities for me to upskill, if there were opportunities for learning and development, I definitely would have stayed. If I could have gone out on shoots, and if they had the time to train me, I guess in the basics of shooting and how to use a camera, that would have been great. But I also know that due to, I guess, the size of the company, that might not necessarily have worked for them. I did bring it up with them, and I was prompted to take on like an afters course, which was, so it definitely showed that they were supporting my continued learning and development. At the time, it just wasn't an option for me, largely for financial reasons, because the video editing position which I was at part-time was, I guess, not enough for me to, I guess, cover the basics as well as take on an additional course.
Are you guys going through a possible career change now? Are you considering it? Have you considered one before? Chuck a comment below, and I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to get back to you. So over the next few years, what are maybe the top 3 skills that you want to develop?
Ooh, top 3 skills. I definitely want to become better at public speaking. This
counts. A glass of wine always helps with public speaking.
Yes, I can't always have that with me though. Another skill would be relationship building. I think it's the absolute crux of the job that I'm in right now. And I like to think of myself as quite a personable person. I like to think of myself as relatively social and easy to get along with, but I also know that my anxiety does often get in the way, as well as my age, because I know that in the marketing industry there are a lot of young people, but I do think I'm still on the younger side of young. And I guess just the more nuanced things about building and maintaining a professional relationship is something that I do need to learn. The third skill would definitely be to continue using and developing my editing skills. It's something that I do still enjoy. I do still think that I'm all right at, and I don't necessarily want to lose that ability.
When would you say you're most happy?
Then.
At least when you're most happy. That's good that you have that nailed down there. Is there any motto or a rule that you kind of try to live by?
God, this is gonna be cheesy as fuck. Wording isn't quite, I don't quite have that down pat, but
That's
it would be to just it'd be to just keep learning. Yeah, I think I just don't ever want my mind to slow down.
If there was anyone that was looking to make a career change like you've done, or just in terms of directional change, what kind of advice would you give to help them make that decision, to know whether they should or should not change?
I think it'd definitely be make the change with both your heart and mind, because I know for me, when I made my career change, it was very strongly driven by just frustration. So it was quite an emotional response, an emotional driver behind that change. And luckily it didn't turn out badly, but I think that, if I'd say gotten another call back at another organization and it just hadn't turned out quite right, I would have ended up feeling frustrated again. So I think, having that drive to do something different is important, but at the same time be logical about it. really look at this as a genuine, job that you're looking for, not just a way to get away from something. Look at this as something that you're, progressing towards and actively want to do. And yeah, I guess think of the longevity of it. Like, could you imagine yourself doing what you imagine the role to be day in and day out?
Hey guys, I hope you found that video exciting. Tara is a lovely girl. If you enjoyed the content, please, if you haven't already, definitely like it. And definitely subscribe to the channel for more exciting tips on videos and photography and all around creative content.